Okay, artists, today we are going to talk about collagraph printmaking. So we know that printmaking is when you use a plate to ink and transfer to create a print. There are a lot of different ways to do printmaking, but the style that I'm showing is called a collagraph technique. So a collagraph technique is a low relief, so that means we are adding things to a flat surface that stick out kind of low, so that way when you ink them, the things that stick out collect the ink. So that way when you print, all of those parts that stick out that picked up the ink will transfer onto your paper to create your print. Now we've talked about the fact that a collagraph print is going to be reversed onto the paper. So when you are creating your plate, you have to think about the fact that everything is going to be reversed when you print. So if we look here at this shape is on the left side of the plate, but on the print, we don't see it on the left side. We see it reversed on the right side. So it's almost like a mirror image if you sit it next to it. So we always have to remember that those things are going to be reversed. So today we're going to plan out how to create our own plate for collagraph printmaking. To create our plate, we're going to need a few materials. We're going to need a piece of cardboard. This will be the heavy, sturdy surface that we add our foam to. This is sticky back foam, so this will actually come off when we're ready, and it has almost like a sticker sheet underneath of it, so we don't have to use glue because this is sticky, but we don't want it to stick until we're ready. We're going to need a pencil and a pair of scissors. So in this example, I'm going to show you how to do initials and a border on your plate, but you may choose a different design if you wish. You just always have to remember that things need to be reversed when you do them on your plate. So what I like to do, because I know that things need to be reversed, instead of drawing my idea on the foam, I'm going to go ahead and draw my idea on the back, on the white part of the sticky paper. Because if I do that, the design on the sticky paper, when it's stuck to my foam, will be reversed. So when I print it, it will look exactly like I have planned it on my sticky back paper. So it will make more sense when I show you. I'm going to show you how to do initials and how to do a border. So the very first thing that I would want to do is plan out how my initials need to look. So my first name is Sarah, my last name is Duquette, so my initials are SD. So I can just draw an S, but this is not thick enough. Right now this is not thick enough for me to cut out. So if I trace around the outside, and if I trace around the inside of my letter, I've just created a thicker version of my S. I can erase that original stick line, and I can close off that shape, and I have just created a bubble S. When I do my D, I can do the same thing. So I'm going to start with a D. I can go on either side of each line. I can erase that stick. And I have just created an S and a D that are kind of bubble. And I need to double check to make sure that they're going to fit on my board. It looks like I did a pretty good job. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these two letters out, but I want to save my extra foam because I can use those when I do my border design. So I'm going to carefully cut out my letters. So I'm going to pause the video and take care of that. If I get to a point when I'm cutting where I need to cut out the inside of something, what I can do is I can carefully fold my foam in half and kind of add a small slit, and I can use that to help me cut out the inside of my letters. Now, here's where you really have to think about reversal. Okay, so what we've done is we have drawn our letters on the white side of the foam so that we know that the letters will be reversed. But what we also have to do is we have to remember that when we are printing, our letters are not only reversed backwards, but reversed directionally. So if I were to put my S and my D here, okay, when I'm printing them, they'll look like this, okay? But when I go to ink, what letter is going to be first? The letter on this side. So I need to plan and I need to say, oh, D is my last name. So D needs to come first. So I'm going to rearrange those to make sure that I did it correctly. I'm going to double check. And so I'm holding them and I'm flipping them and I'm saying, okay, so S is my first name. So S should be on this side. Yep, I did it right. So I'm going to go ahead and peel my sticky back from the foam so that I can stick my letters right onto the cardboard. Looks like my foam got a little bit too sticky, so I'm going to pause the video and peel that off. Okay, so I peeled the sticky off from the back, so I'm going to carefully place it onto my cardboard and push it down really tight to secure it. And I want to do that to both of my letters. So now that my letters are secured with the foam, I'm double checking, making sure I did it the right way. Yes, my S is going to be first, my D is going to be second. Even though they look like the backwards S and the backwards D here, when they print, they are going to be the correct letters. So, step one is done. Now I have some extra foam. So I can cut out some shapes here. I can make a border. I could cut out some designs to add to my empty space. Everything that I add in foam onto my cardboard is going to catch the ink, which is going to end up transferring onto my print when I'm done. So I'm going to take a minute and cut some shapes and put them onto my plate. So I've just added a border. What I've done is I've made a decision. I thought about adding a border to the top and bottom, but I don't want any of my shapes to touch that top, because then it will connect to my letter when it prints. So I've made the decision to just do my shapes on the right and left hand side. So when I print, I will have an S and a D facing the correct direction, and I will have some rectangle shapes on either side of the border. So before we put these away, make sure that you put your name and your code on the back of your plate, because these are all going to look a little similar when they're covered with ink. The next time we see each other, we will watch a video on inking and printing our first Collagraph print.